This is a microneedle after just 10 stamps on my skin. Not a full face, not a full scalp, just 10 stamps. See all that? That's dead skin, oil, packed onto a needle you can barely see. And if you reuse your microneedles at home, this is what you're pushing back into your skin. So I tested 4 ways to clean them, including 2 that you suggested in the comments, and one of them clearly won. I'm a dermatologist, and I have to say this clearly right up front. The safest thing to do is to use fresh needles every single time. I am not here telling you to reuse needles, but I see hundreds of patients a week, and I know there's a difference between recommendations and reality. We do not live in an ideal world. People are reusing these at home to save money, the same needle tips for weeks, months, sometimes even years. So my real question is this: if you're going to do it anyway, is there a way to make it safer? In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how dirty these get, what rubbing alcohol can and can't do. That part genuinely surprised me, and the cheapest method that actually worked for about $2. This is a brand new microneedling head after just 10 stamps on the back of my hand. And here's what they look like after a few full face treatments. It doesn't matter what brand you use, Qure, Banish, Dr. Pen. If you're reusing the needles, this is almost certainly happening to you too. The needles are tiny, the debris is sticky thanks to our natural skin oils, and your eyes can't see it without magnification. Now, the advice you see all over the internet is basically swirl your needle around in rubbing alcohol and you're good to go. But when I actually tested it, the results surprised me. So before the test, let's get clear on what rubbing alcohol can and can't do. First, the good news. Rubbing alcohol, specifically 70% isopropyl alcohol, is genuinely a good disinfectant. It kills many kinds of bacteria, fungi, and viruses too. It can't kill everything, but it's a solid disinfectant. One quick practical note: it sounds backwards, but the super high concentrations like 95% are less effective than the 70% concentration as disinfectants. 70% is an easy to find sweet spot. Now here's the part that matters most for cleaning needles. Alcohol kills germs, but it doesn't remove oily gunk very well on its own. And that oily gunk is a great hidey hole for bacteria to grow in. If the rubbing alcohol can't access the bacteria hiding inside the dead skin snowball, it can't disinfect it either. So let's test what it actually takes to break up the debris on microneedles. For each test, I wanted to look at the exact same needle before and after cleaning. Each needle picks up a different amount of debris when you microneedle. I didn't want to get tricked into thinking that a cleaning method was better or worse than it actually was by accidentally looking at different needles every time. So under magnification, I picked a needle or two and marked near it with a pen and nail polish so I could find it after cleaning. The 4 methods I mixed and matched from were swirling the needle in rubbing alcohol, brushing it with a baby toothbrush, an ultrasonic cleaner used for jewelry or retainers, and a 30-minute soak in rubbing alcohol. Round 1. Just swirling in alcohol. This was a fresh set of needles after stamping it on the back of my hand 20 times. Then I shook and swirled it in alcohol. And this is the after. That doesn't look good to me. I can still see skin debris, I can still see blood, and honestly, I'm not surprised. No scrubbing, no detergent, and the gunk stays put. Round 2, the baby toothbrush. I took that same nasty needle, the one covered in skin and blood, and brushed it with a brand new soft baby toothbrush. Rubbing alcohol from the previous test was still on the needles. One important note: brand new toothbrush, meaning never been in anyone's mouth. Human mouths are super duper disgustingly dirty. Ask any emergency or infectious disease doc. A human bite can cause way worse infections than a dog or a cat bite. So, new toothbrush, gentle brushing, and honestly, it's not perfect, but that's pretty good. And just as important, I don't see any blunting or damage to the needle tips, which was my worry going in. Round 3, the ultrasonic cleaner. This was the single most requested method in the comments. Same rule as the toothbrush though, I wouldn't want to use one you actually clean your jewelry or especially your retainers with. I popped the needle head off and ran one 5-minute cycle. A little improvement, but I could still see debris hanging on for dear life. Then I went after the really nasty ones, the heads that were used for multiple full face treatments. These felt like they needed big guns, so I combined methods: baby toothbrush with rubbing alcohol first, then the ultrasonic cleaner. After the baby toothbrush and one cycle in the cleaner, it's better but still pretty dirty. So I ran a second ultrasonic cleaning cycle, and it looked about the same. The extra cycle didn't add much. And finally, round 4, using a different set of nasty needles. I soaked these in rubbing alcohol for 30 minutes and still pretty dirty, which again makes sense. Soaking is just alcohol without any physical or chemical loosening of the debris. Extra time doesn't lift the gunk off. So for removing visible debris, swirling in alcohol alone barely did anything. A 30-minute soak was a little better, but not great. An ultrasonic cleaner showed some improvement, and a baby toothbrush plus alcohol was the winner for mild debris that was fresh right after using the microneedles, but not good enough to remove old, stubborn gunk. The methods that worked best involved mechanically brushing or agitating the debris off. So let me be crystal clear. My recommendation is to use a clean needle every time. I don't want to be the dermatologist in someone's Instagram reel supposedly recommending that people reuse needles. But I also live in the real world, and I'd rather give you honest safety information rather than pretend that reusing isn't happening. So if money is tight and you're going to reuse anyway, here's a safer routine that came out of all of this. Right after finishing a treatment, but before storing your microneedling kit, gently brush the needle head with a brand new bristled baby toothbrush and 70% rubbing alcohol to physically remove the debris. I tested soft bristles, not a silicone toothbrush. I don't think the silicone nubs are delicate enough to get around the needles. I also worry they'll blunt the needles. Then give it one more rinse in a fresh pour of rubbing alcohol for about 30 seconds. Let the alcohol evaporate off, then store it. Right before my next treatment, I would disinfect the needles and alcohol again. My bottle of rubbing alcohol cost a little over $1. Baby toothbrushes are about $1 each or less if you buy them in a multi-pack. So that is a less than $2 cleaning routine. I wish people could check their work by looking under magnification the way I did. The video dermatoscope I used is about $1,000, so it's not realistic for the average person to buy something like this. In the future, I want to see if a cheaper microscope like one I could buy on Amazon or Temu can work for this purpose too, so people can check their work at home. And one rule with no exceptions: do not share needles. Ever, cleaned or not. Reusing your own needles is one conversation, but that's still better than sharing needles with other people. If you liked this video, you might like my original microneedling videos on the popular Qure microinfusion system and the Banish microneedling system. Coming up, I have videos planned on home lasers for anti-aging. I've been testing the $700 Tria FRX, and on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, more Dollar Tree videos. I just picked up a new haul, and I'm excited to share that with you. If that sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.